Welcome to the Happiness Alchemy podcast for magical women craving business, life, and spiritual growth. Stay with me to expand and empower yourself to live a life you love. Episode 13, Happiness Alchemy Energy Forecast for the week of February 25th, 2018. This week, the archangels are still coming in very, very strongly. Their presence in 2018 is outstanding. It is just so right here, right beside Earth. So it's still on a very high priority this week. But with this earthy full moon that we have coming in around Thursday for most of us, the animal guides are also coming in to really ground these lessons down and help us to move forward through them. So this message is a beautiful combination between the archangels and these druid animals that are coming up as well. Just adding some specific ways to apply the wisdom to your life. So as I mentioned, the archangels are still very nearby, and chances are you are hearing their whispers. This is the big message that I was getting through from them this week, is that many, many people are hearing whispers of the archangels, are getting this ringing in their ears, and that's like the phone ringing from the archangels being like, get some quiet time, tune in and pay attention because we've got some messages for you. All right, so moving to the spirit animals. So I am going to talk about the specific archangels that came up this week in the individual cards, but for the general forecast for the week, it was the druid animals spirits that were coming through. So again, this is from the druid animal deck. So what I found really interesting is all three animals that came up this week started with the letter B, and out of the deck there's only 5 of them that start with B, so it's interesting that all 3 were B animals, and there was actually a lesson or a message in that as well. So they're really here to help usher in March, to transition us from this time of balance and service into inspiration and expression. So it's really coming forward with the spring season, just getting ready to get started here. So the 3 animals that came up this week are the bee, the bull, and the blackbird. So the messages this week are all about what to expect and how to navigate the energy. This energy I find with this week specifically, and it's likely due to the full moon and the shift into March, it shifts quite a bit from what the energy is on Sunday to what it ends up being on Saturday. So it's going to be a pretty interesting week. So much of this is still keeping with the theme of purpose and potential, which has been really big, and I find that I've been talking about it a lot, and I've seen a lot of other people talking about it a lot in 2018 too. So this bee, I had to laugh because it's such a hilarious but really strong energy coming through from the bee. The bee is reminding you to be sure to get out of your little oasis and get actually into the hive this week, into the socialization, celebrating unity and celebrating the joy that comes with cooperation, allowing yourself to be uplifted and supported while you do the same for others. So this spirit of celebration is really called for this week, and especially in a social way if you can make that possible, just to soak up the energy of the community. The bee is really coming in with that message very, very strongly, allowing some time to socialize, just to enjoy the company of others and to celebrate in any way that feels appropriate to you. Here's another message that's been coming in too. So this is partly archangel message, partly spirit animal message, as most of this week's forecast is. If you have been feeling called to organize a group, organize some type of local thing, or organize something online too, it might be one or the other. But just kind of ask yourself, has that been coming up for me? If so, this is the week to do it for sure. Your energy is very supported by this right now. And when you take action on this, it supports your potential and your own growth. So also taking note that the bull has come in to teach us and remind us that as we are taking actions on things that break us out of our comfort zone, rewards await. So it's a really interesting combination here with this bee and this bull working together, because it is about collaboration, cooperation, but getting outside of your comfort zone. And also the big rewards can come from that. So good fortune is really there for those who are directing their personal power towards what they feel called to do, towards their purpose. When I say purpose, I don't mean that it has to be like, this is my one life purpose and this is the career that I'm taking action on. I just mean that step, this calling that you're getting to do this one action. So just focusing on that as your purpose. This is where the rewards are coming from as you are focusing your personal power into that purpose, which is just the action step. So the bull is also reminding us that True fortune. So whenever I say fortune, some people might be like, oh, you know, cash and dollar bills and all that. But more so, it's first felt in the heart and the solar plexus. So this intense personal power, this compassion, this love, this deep inner self-worth and self-deserving. It's felt there before it is expressed into physical form. So even if you feel like you've been working forever towards this feeling of good fortune inside and allowing it to manifest on the outside, call upon the bull this week and the bee to bring you extra strength, extra encouragement, and extra endurance. A lot of us have these life purpose, life paths chosen that make us deal with a lot of stuff that comes up and make us process a lot of energy for many people and for many things. So call upon that bull, call upon that bee for the extra strength, encouragement, and endurance that you need this week. Be open to that. So as I mentioned, so this is kind of more so for really, really the start of the week, coming up until about Thursday or so, whenever the energy starts to shift a little bit. So as we're moving closer to the full moon, so this part's more so for Thursday to Saturday. So the bee and the bull came in for the start of the week. And then now as we're moving into March and moving into the full moon, this is where the blackbird comes in. And this is where our intuition comes into focus. And you'll see this again in the angel cards below. But allowing your focus to shift from this balance of practical action steps, taking action with the bull and the bee's energy, and moving that towards a deeply inward journey as the weekend approaches. See, you're creating that balance there. You're not just going action, 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 not stopping to think. You're doing action because I know what I've been called to do, and then you're pausing and you're tuning in again. So allowing that extra time to do that, to get your next steps on the path to be revealed. So something that maybe you've been, wanting to know for a long time or waiting for clarity on. Things are open at the end of the week for this. It's really, really, really a fantastic time to be tuning in to your intuition. So all of this forward movement to your potential highlights the balance of action and contemplation. This masculine and feminine together, really, really beautiful balance. All right, so that is the general forecast for the week. And now moving on to the cards. So we have the Archangel deck again this week. So if you just want to take a moment and tune in and breathe into your heart and just check in with yourself and just ask if you will resonate with card 1, 2, or 3 this week. See which one you are feeling called to. All right, once you have your card, I'm going to go ahead and let you know the reveal. So these are all Archangel cards. They kept their messages fairly short this week, so I was impressed. They really want you to just get on and be taking action here near the start of the week. If you chose card number 1, it's Archangel Shamuel that came up. The card is Beloved One. And again, you can see the visuals for this on my blog at tracygoody.com anytime you want. So his message this week is to heal your heart this week. Forgive, release the need to be right, and allow great amounts of compassion into your system. So while this applies really strongly to relationships or manifesting an ideal relationship and an ideal mate, Shamuel's focus on this week really is in falling in love with your life, allowing your heart to open further to call in the things you desire. Really recognizing that you are worthy of those things, that you're deserving of those things, and that it is your time. But you have to give yourself permission for that. So whether it's a relationship, a life-changing job, or a career path, or even like a physical move in location, it's there for you. So work with Shamuel this week to really open up your heart space and really feel that you deserve that on a deep level, and really send these little sparkles of appreciation out into the universe to start drawing that to you more and more closely. So keeping in mind all of the things that the spirit animals brought in this week, but also keeping in mind that the way that is playing out is very much in your heart this week. All right, so card number 2, if you chose card number 2, it was Archangel Uriel that came up, and the card is clear cognizance. So that just means clear knowing. So that's one of the clear senses. So the message that came through with this, again, I was not super shocked that Archangel Uriel came in, because he really tends to hang out around the full moon, encouraging you to embrace and accept your intuitive gifts more deeply and take action on the information that comes through. So this is where Uriel is meeting up with the bull, meeting up with the bee, and being like, hey, seriously, pay attention to your intuition. And then as Thursday is coming along too, your crown chakra is going to be buzzing more and more and more. Your claircognizance is going to be turned on to high. And that's just a clear knowing. You know something without necessarily having a visual and audio or anything like that. You just know it. So feel free at any point too to ask Archangel Uriel for clarification of anything that comes through. So if you get like a little piece of a message, ask questions. This is the thing with your guides. Sometimes they can be super cryptic, so you have to be like, break it down for me in a way I can understand, please. And then take the time to listen and act accordingly. True intuitive guidance. So this is another thing he wanted to bring through here. True intuitive guidance is going to feel like love and support. Even if it's something that you feel scared to do, it's going to feel exciting and it's going to feel loving and supportive. If the messages that are coming through feel more like fear-based and kind of like scare you, or it doesn't quite feel good, then that's coming from your ego. So he's just reminding you to remember that. And if you do find the messages coming through are from your ego, take some extra time and breathe into your heart. Really put your hand over your heart and tune in. And I talk about this a lot on the podcast because it connects you in, it connects you into your divine essence and into the earth, so that you can kind of ground and shut the ego off for a few moments to really tune into the intuition. So always breathing into your heart anytime that you find the messages coming through are coming from your ego as opposed to intuition. Okay, so if you chose card number 3 this week, again, it's Archangel Uriel coming up. No surprise. This time the card that came up is You Know What to Do. So Uriel is really making himself known this week. There are so many, so many, and I feel like a lot of the people who listen to this podcast are right there on this list. There's so many that he is ready to support at this time with intuitive trusting and with knowing you are in the exact right place at the right time. This week is so beautiful for opening up and expanding your intuition further, and more importantly, opening up and expanding your trust in that information that's coming through. So you know what you have been hearing from your intuition, yet the actions are not fully happening yet. Maybe you feel like they're not aligned. Maybe there's some fear around that. But the question to ask yourself this week is, what is stopping me from moving on that? What is stopping me from moving on that? Ask yourself that, and then really start to tune in and deal with it. Release the fears that are coming up. Make your passion stronger than your fear. So begin asking yourself that at the start of the week. So this energy is coming in really with some urgency near the start of the week to take action on the inspiration. He's reminding you again that whenever you get these inspirations, whenever you get these intuitive hits, this grace, it doesn't really hang around that long. If you're not listening to it, it's kind of going to move on. So it's time for you to really listen to that. And if you feel like something is blocking the way of you taking action on that, really dealing with that this week. Huge thing. So we all have some resistance, but just making your drive and purpose bigger than your fear of taking action is your key. So doing whatever you have to do to pull that personal power up, to really tune in and be like, I know this is what I am meant to do, so I'm going to figure out a way to do it this week. Okay, so that is the full energy forecast for the week, and thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for listening to the Happiness Alchemy podcast. If you know someone who would resonate with this message, please share this episode with them. Sending so much gratitude. Have an amazing day.